Hello, everyone, and welcome inside Desert Financial Arena for the SunDevilSource Postgame Show. I'm Blake Neiman here with Chris Cartman following Arizona State's 76-61 loss to number 3 Iowa State. Sun Devils now falling to 11-8 overall, 2-6 in the Big 12. And Chris, ASU was hanging around for a quiet majority of this game up until really the final 5 minutes. Sun Devils had the lead up until that 5-minute point, but then the rest of the way, Iowa State going on a 19-3 run to close it out and making it a lopsided victory for the Cyclones.
Yeah, I posted on social media right around just before that run started that ASU hung in there with the number 3 team in the country for 35 minutes, and we would see if they would have the ability to close it out or not, and they didn't. Bottom line, Iowa State, one of the best defensive teams in the country, very pesky, physical. ASU has had an issue with turning the ball over, and a lot of the possessions that were executed quite well earlier in the game against that type of pressure were not well executed in a stretch that was a 9-0 run that then became a broader, bigger run as ASU kind of fell apart. Loud crowd here for Iowa State. They have a lot of fans in the Valley. Ann Arbor traveled quite well. But no moral victory for ASU. Bobby Hurley seemed extremely frustrated and disappointed with the result after the game.
And you mentioned Iowa State and their high defensive pressure, top 10 in the nation, and being able to force turnovers. Meanwhile, one of ASU's largest weaknesses is committing turnovers, 10-plus turnovers committed in each of their games this season, and that's really what made the difference down the stretch.
Yeah, ASU had a good first half, 7 turnovers, neck and neck with Iowa State. Iowa State, as I said, a top 10 team at forcing turnovers nationally, far better than any opponent that ASU's played this season. ASU is I think 344th in the country in the number of turnovers that it gives up, which is one of the worst teams out there. Second half, that showed up a little bit more, 11 turnovers for ASU, 18 that might have been a season high for the Sun Devils, certainly up there. You're not going to be able to beat a team like this, especially when its best player, Curtis Jones, had 33 points, played really well. When you're not able to execute down the stretch in tight games in that situation. That's what separates a team like ASU, which is 2-6, obviously, in the Big 12, bubble at best, NCAA tournament aspirations, and a team that is legitimately in contention for a Final Four.
And now ASU did come out with some energy coming off that win over West Virginia, number 23 ranked team in the country, who recently actually beat this Iowa State team themselves, handing them just their second loss of the season. Josan Sandin being back helped with a little bit, 3 of 6 from the field. Had some good things going early, just couldn't quite finish it off.
Yeah, Sandin made 2 of his first 3 three-pointers. I thought his defensive energy was pretty good, trying to chase around some screens. There's a lot of things that are still going to improve about his game. The good thing for ASU is that got the team to an 8-man rotation, which was really important because of the foul trouble that they had throughout the whole game. That was another frustrating thing, I think, for Bobby Hurley and ASU. There was a flagrant foul called against Sandin that they reviewed. He said it shouldn't have been a flagrant. That frustrated him. I think that was right in the middle of what determined the game for Iowa State. That's a positive sign, getting him back and what that should be able to provide for the team. The outside shooting, B.J. Freeman's been good at that recently. Adam Miller made some shots tonight, as he has recently. But they're going to need more of that, especially as they try to force teams to continue to be honest, given the development of Jaden Quaintance on the interior.
Yeah, the health of this team seems to be up and down all season long as it's fluctuated. Jaden Quaintance, we saw wrapping his ankle, or unwrapping rather, before the game, was battling through it throughout the day. Bobby Hurley saying post-game that he missed a step after ASU's Thursday practice, did not practice on Friday, ended up trying to battled through it today, ends up fouling out along with Sandin, who also fouled out today, and now is going to get a much more thorough evaluation, so we'll see of his status later on.
Yeah, Hurley said he felt like Quaintance didn't have his normal explosiveness. He didn't look like he was much degraded, in my estimation. Wasn't anything like Sandin when he tried to play against Baylor after having the ankle injury about 10 or so days earlier in ASU's first Big 12 game. So my sense is that's probably not going to be any type of a length of an injury for Quaintance, which would be positive for ASU, of course, because he's been really good. Sean Phillips, with Quaintance having the foul trouble. I thought Sean Phillips had one of his best performances in this game. He had 4 blocks at least. He played well also against West Virginia. That's another thing. They're going to need Bashir Jihad, Quaintance, and Phillips to all kind of play well together in some of these bigger games, and also be able to avoid the foul trouble that they were plagued by really throughout the game, with Quaintance getting 2 fouls early and his 3rd foul within a few minutes in the second half.
The urgency is beginning to increase for this team as they near the midpoint of Big 12 play, and today was kind of deflating, as you can see evident by Bobby Hurley post-game. ASU's football team came out today, sat in the section, packed the entire team. Kenny Dillingham was there, lots of energy. They had the Big 12 trophy in the house, celebrated it at halftime. Seemed like there was a lot of good ASU vibes from ASU fan standpoint and everything, and just couldn't quite get that court storming upset win like the similar environments they've had. Number 3 UCLA a few years ago, the upset over Kansas. But as Bobby Hurley said post-game too, new time, new era.
You could just tell there was frustration with Hurley. Like, he wanted to deliver a great result given the environment and what was being celebrated today. And there's an understanding that they're not where they need to be right now to compete for an NCAA tournament bid. Big 12 is really tough. He said, you know, the scheduling and the travel has been a little bit difficult for them, but all the teams have similar challenges, and the officiating is the same, or should be the same theoretically across the conference. The bottom line is they're not winning enough games against really good teams, and they're going to have to find a way to do that more often if they're going to play in the postseason where they want to.
Sun Devils have now lost 4 of their last 5 games, come up short here today against Iowa State, the number 3 team in the nation. Here from Desert Financial Arena, for Chris Cartman, I'm Blake Neiman, signing off for the SunDevilSource Postgame Show.